We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Reaching out to the four corners of the globe and broadcasting to you live from the studios of LA Talk Live in beautiful Los Angeles, California. And man, what a day today. It was beautiful and sunny and blustery with the winds outside today in LA. I gotta say, what a absolute blessing to live in this town. And ladies and gentlemen from around the globe, welcome to tonight's edition of Speak On It, Say It, Own It, Believe It. You know my motto. Hosted by your humble host, Richard Karr. I do not matter. That is not important, because tonight we've got some very special guests, the fine gentlemen and ladies of NOMA, our official sponsor for tonight's episode of Speak On It. Join us once again live in the studios of LA Talk Live. We've got some young people, some grown people, and some sexy people. Speaking of which, we've got my main man, Reuben, back in the studios with us tonight. Your mic's not live yet. They're not seeing you yet, but they'll see your sexy self a little bit later on in this show. We've got some great stuff going on tonight. We've got 90 minutes. We're going to be talking to our official sponsors tonight about their Summer Camp 2015 that's coming up on August 1st. You know, we've been promoting that very heavily on our broadcast network throughout our weekly schedule. So tonight we're back with the principals of NOMA and some of the local chapter representatives who are going to be talking about this 2015 summer camp that's happening in August. If you have not enrolled your young people into a summer camp yet, what are you waiting on? And guess what? You can send them to a summer camp that will really make a difference in their lives. We've got great images to share with you, great conversation. Stay tuned, and welcome again to tonight's edition of Speak On It with your humble host, Richard Karr. We're going to take a quick commercial break. I want you to stay tuned and pay attention to my sponsors' messages. That's very important for our network. So be sure not to tune out. Call your friends and family. Tonight, as always, we're broadcasting from the studios of LA Talk Live. But I want you to go to Chicago, New York, Boston, and Philadelphia TalkLive.com as well tonight, because I got family and friends in all of those areas. And you can watch and listen just as live as on LA Talk Live as you can there. So listen, LATalkLive.com, or if you're in Atlanta, go to AtlantaTalkLive.com. If you're in Boston, go to BostonTalkLive.com. Chicago, Tampa, St. Louis, Houston, New Jersey. You don't have to tune into LA Talk Live if you're a Laker hater. I get it. You can go anywhere in the world. You can also listen to us on iTunes Radio in the R&B section. Live 365, same thing. Look up LA Talk Live. You can also listen to us on AHA Radio, Radio Flag, TuneIn Radio, TiVo, Apple TV, and Roku. We're everywhere that you are. You can actually go to my personal Facebook page and click the player and watch the show live on my personal Facebook page, which is Richard Karr. You have no excuse not to tune in tonight. And what we're about to deliver to you tonight is going to be so valuable to you parents and you young people. There's opportunity out there. There's no more excuses. Let's stand up and take control of what's about to happen next in our society, right here in America. Plenty of jobs, plenty of opportunities. We're about to prove it here with the fine ladies and gentlemen of the National Organization of Minority Architects. Yeah, they're back, and I'm back with them. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Pay attention to the messages that are about to come to you next. You're listening to Speak On It, Say It, Own It, Believe It. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Church on Sunday, sleeping, not trying to duck the wrath of God. Preachers filling us with pride. They all trying to teach us what they think is right. They really got to be some kind of nut. I can't use it. I'm trying to make it real compared to what other people have.
Women now make up 37% of the workforce, changing their role forever.
Harvard Medical School has now opened its doors to new female applicants.
The first woman is now in space.
The majority of last year's doctorate degrees were earned by women.
We've come so far, but our news is changing for the worse. More women die from heart disease and stroke than men, even though it can be prevented. Make a change at GoRedForWomen.org today. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the American Heart Association's Go Red for Women.
Do you or does someone you know have sickle cell disease? Have you heard about the EPIC study? It's an international research study evaluating an investigational drug aimed at shortening the duration of painful crisis. And with over 50 sites in the US, there may be a site near you. To learn more and to find out if the EPIC study is right for you, visit www.theepicstudy.com.
NOMA, the National Organization of Minority Architects, whose mission is to champion diversity within the building and design profession, is hosting its 6th annual summer camp on August 1st, August 8th, and August 15th for youth ages 10 to 16, introducing youth to architecture, interior design, engineering, and urban planning. Total camp cost is $100 per camper and includes lunch, snacks, and takes place all day from 8 to 5 p.m. Campers will enjoy field trips to iconic architectural complexes, plus 3 days of hands-on building design learning experiences. To register, go to SoCalNOMA.org. That's SoCal, NOMA.org.
Business school is not exclusive to one field, it's universal. Loyola Marymount University's Executive MBA is designed for accomplished working professionals. You will build core business skills required for executive leadership. Classes are held on Saturdays. Earn an accredited degree in just 20 months with LMU's Executive MBA program. No matter what type of field you have chosen for your career, LMU's EMBA will make you a better leader. For more information, visit emba.lmu.edu. Once again, that's emba.lmu.edu. Loyola Marymount University, proud sponsors of Born to Talk with Marsha White-Tekka and the LA Talk Live Broadcast Network. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's edition of Speak On It, Say It, Own It, Believe It. We've got the fine ladies and gentlemen from NOMA, the National Organization of Minority Architects, in the studio, joining us tonight once again. And in the background, one of my favorite songs from the early 70s. You young people don't know nothing about this here. It's a little Earth, Wind, and Fire from the album Head to the Sky called Build Your Nest. And it's very apropos for our topic tonight because we're talking about entrepreneurship in the fields of architecture and its ancillary fields. So joining us once again tonight on our microphone, we've got my good friend, my new buddy, Mr. Reuben Jacobs. Yeah, we see you over there, man. And I'm going to bring down the music and allow you to introduce both Michael and Otto to our show tonight. Once again, it's Speak On It. Welcome back. We've got NOMA, our official sponsors of tonight's episode of Speak On It, representing on the mic tonight. They've got a house full of young architects, civil engineers. They're going to make your neighborhood look like it look. You better understand that these people are the future of what your neighborhood, your city, your life is going to look like. You know, I spoke very openly about my appreciation and admiration for architecture, and that, you know, I come from Philadelphia, you know, the hometown of Julian Abel, who designed, you know, the first, you know, library in this country on Vine Street in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Library, who also helped design many great edifices and structures here throughout the country. I'm going to pull up his photograph now. You can see him on the screen in a moment. He also was notable for designing the chapel at Duke University. Once again, this is the Free Library of Philadelphia. But the fact of the matter is, it didn't stop there. It did not stop there. There are great architectures being born and who are graduating every single day here in this country. People who shape and design the world you live in. You know, I had to think about this, Reuben, a little bit after the show we were last on. I missed the last time you guys were here, having to do some political duties. You know, I'm running for mayor next year. Or is it heavyweight champion? Let me think. I get it mixed up. Either one of those, I could win. But last time we were together, we talked about my admiration for architecture and what it meant to me about the science of what goes where. And I know to some people that seemed a bit esoteric, and perhaps even to great artists like yourself, you know, speaking from a layman's perspective, it may seem esoteric. But the fact of the matter is, as I thought about it, particularly as it relates to the summer camp that's coming up for black and brown youth, young boys, young girls, up through 16 years old can come out to this summer camp starting August 1st, 8th, and 15th to learn about careers in architecture. And I thought about the importance of structure. That's when it hit me that the what goes where science of architecture made it relevant to me as a layperson that, in fact, structure is one of those things most lacking, particularly amongst our young black men and women. So without further ado, once again, I want to welcome to the microphone my new friend and good friend, Reuben Jacobs. I want you to talk about how you think about what I just said, especially as I've evolved it beyond that little mindedness of what goes where, because that's like kids playing with little blocks and, you know, little. You remember that, right? Mm-hmm. You're young. You could go back that far. Remember the little building blocks people would give us?
Absolutely.
Why'd they give us building blocks? And what did that mean? And then as I broke that down once again, it's a lack of structure in our community that I think that kids who can get exposed to architecture, civil engineering, city planning through this summer camp that you've got going on starting August 1st, 2015, that can teach them structure. So I'll start with you introducing yourself and your guest and the background of NOMA. As you can tell, I'm a little amped up. I missed the last show. I was away. I was watching, and I'm like, I wish I was there so I could ask this question. But welcome back to the mic, and
thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself once again for those tuning in for the first time.
A little about me. I'm a graduate of USC School of Architecture,
yeah, and
I presently have my own company. I do consulting as well as do architectural interior design projects. A deeper background is I'm a second generation because my dad was an architect. So some of the mystique that's in architecture was never something I had. I saw all the cool stuff growing up because my dad actually went back and got his degrees when I was young, 8, 9 years old. So our living room and dining room became the studio where all these drawings were, and the magazines came in the house that were the architectural magazines. So it's like our kids today knowing what cool cars are. That's a given. Even if you don't have one, you see it rolling down the street. So I saw all of that, where I think a lot of our youth is only exposed to the basic architecture that we live in and we see, because we all are involved in architecture. It's just how cool the stuff are you seeing. And so I saw all the cool stuff, most of which I didn't get to go to either, but I aspired to get into that. And so that's kind of my background on it.
Now, Reuben, let me take a moment out because, you know, we've curated quite a few graphics through NOMA recently, and I think I'm showing a graphic that'll come up later. You know, it comes up 15 seconds later, so you can't pay any mind. I want you to speak to this. Reuben Jacobs, Perkins and Will, Ronald Reagan Memorial Hospital. Yes?
Yes.
One of your designs.
Yes. Well, I was involved in it. As a lot of people don't realize, most buildings have numerous people working on them. That was one of your larger projects. It's one of the largest hospitals in the country. It's over 1 million square feet. And some 10 plus years ago, well, even more than that, is when I worked on that at a big architect firm, Perkins and Will. So I was one of probably 40, 50 architects that were on that project, and there were still numerous engineers of all different capacities, as well as medical planners and different people working on it. So it's a big team effort.
Not just a team effort, but that also speaks to the broad landscape of opportunities that are out there for young people who are interested in going into this field. Once again, tonight, it's really about promoting the program that's taking place August 1st, 8th, and 15th at the NOMA, So-Cal NOMA Youth Camp, that young people can come out and learn. I don't need to talk about it. I can show them how to build.
Exactly.
Your mama, his mother and father, his aunts and uncles, his relatives can drive down the street and point at that building and say very proudly and joyfully, my son was involved with the design and development of that structure. That's huge, huge. We'll go back to the concept of structure in the black community and how maybe being involved with this summer youth camp program can help teach young people in the broader scope of things of their lives how to structure and build, but how to leave landmarks. You know, we talked about this before. Hey, listen, we already know Egyptians built the pyramids, and great black architects designed some of the great historical edifices that litter the landscape of the globe. But it doesn't go back. You don't have to go back that far. You're not that old, Reuben.
I actually
You're a young man. You're a young man. My point being that we are still creating great achievements in building design, in urban landscape, leaving our mark as African Americans, men and women, on this great country. So it didn't just end, and I think it's important for young people who are tuned in. You know, our demographics are 8 to 80. We have young children in here doing Kids Talk Live as young as 8-year-olds. We got old folks as old as me, 80 years old, still on the air.
Yeah.
It's a joke. Nobody got that. All right? I'm always working on material. Can I get a laugh from the gallery? No? Okay, no problem. But that said, it's important for young people to understand that, you know, when we talk about black architecture, it's not ancient history. It's recent history. It's right now and, in fact, tomorrow, because we've got young Tyler here to talk about his experience, or who's sitting in the wings. I'm sorry.
And before we,
well, Otto's kind of young too, and this young lady here, Michael, is very young. About to ask her for her phone number, but she's a little too young for me. I'm only joking. All right. So that said, listen, it's very important for us to understand the impact that black architects, men and women, are having in our modern society. Again, it's not ancient history. Speak to that, please.
Absolutely. Well, before I even go deeper in that, I'll let these people tell you who they are and where they fit into it.
And I gotta say, you have become quite the architect of radio as well, it seems.
I'm starting to make
building shows and everything. So let's follow your schedule. Go. Introduce your guest, please.
Michael, take it away.
Hi, my name is Michael Dory, and I'm an interior...
I need you to get closer to your microphone.
I'm an interior designer.
And wait for it, wait for it. There it is. Yeah. Audience a little slow tonight. It's okay.
My original background, it was technology. I actually have a bachelor's degree in computer science. And I decided to change careers, and I went back to school, and I got a Master of Interior Architecture degree from Cal Poly Pomona, and I'm an interior designer. I like to focus on how from the building shell inward works, so how people actually utilize space within the building envelope. And what people don't know is that very often interior designers are trained to deal with larger, not just residential spaces, but commercial spaces, from hospitals to clinics to corporate office buildings to a variety of structures. We are trained to deal with the health, safety, life issues, as well as the functional design and the aesthetic elements of the interior environment.
Ironically enough, for the show tonight, I was having some lunch with our new business developer, Ilya Daly, and he had with us today at lunch to entertain some concepts about developing a show A young lady who I mentioned what the show was about tonight, and she said the exact same thing you said. I'm an interior. Oh, I love architecture. I work with architects. I'm an interior designer. I'm like, wow, you should stop by tonight. But I did not take the time, forgive me, Michael, to read all the bio about you. An interior designer with masters, Cal Poly, Pomona, all that good stuff. But she does the same thing you do. So how small is the world becoming for architects, interior designers, urban planners, and what have you?
I think we all...
Maybe we're becoming more aware of the opportunity there? Is that what's going on?
Well, I think, relatively speaking, the
Closer to your microphone.
Interior design profession is a slightly newer profession. It did start out, more in the decorative space, but it has evolved over the years, and now it's become a much more rigorous profession. For those who choose to actually, pursue the level of education. I mean, there are those who do the decorative side, and that can definitely transform someone's space. But when you're looking particularly at commercial environments, you tend to need much more training than sometimes some people receive when they just deal with the smaller residential environments.
Do you get what I mean when I say it's the what goes where of things?
Definitely.
As a layperson, like, wow, that goes nice there. We don't realize the science that really takes place behind that in the education.
Absolutely. I would say, it's...
That made sense?
It does. That's truly the science of it. And that's why I would say anybody can become an architect if you're trained. Now, will you be a master one? Probably not, unless you really work at that and you have that gift. But so much of the profession is not common sense, but there's logic behind it. And I could give you an example that would just make sense. A lot of us, we live in homes, we live in apartments, we know how houses are supposed to work. So if you're trained to know how hospitals work, you could do a hospital too, meaning you're not going to put your kitchen clear away from your dining room because the dining room's supposed to be right with the kitchen. So there's functionality, knowing what things go together and how people use the space is what you would need to know from a law firm to a hospital to, doctor's office, whatever the space be, a music studio, how your studio works, all those sort of things. There's some common knowledge you would have to do to basically organize that and make it structurally work before we get into building structure, how it stands. It's just some common stuff.
Interesting point. Again, as a layperson, but as a architect, lover, fan, whatever at heart, the what goes where of it all related to how this studio got laid out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I wanted to capture the brick wall from a camera perspective. In the beginning, we only had that table sitting where you're at, with the cameras pointing that way for the guest. And I'm like, I don't like that perspective. So it took me a while to figure out, okay, I need to build this L, or corral, I call it. This is the corral back here. And it needs to face that way. And to me, I'm no architect, but it really was important how we laid things out. So again, the science of what goes where and how it makes sense, not just in my little personal bubble, but in society, in the urban planning of things as well. We've got with us Brother Otto.
How you doing, sir?
Let me get our audience to give you a rousing round of applause. I'd like you to introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. My name is Otto Stallworth. I've been involved.
Any relation to Lynn?
You mean John?
Oh, John Stallworth. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Lynn Swan.
My cousin.
John.
I've never met him, but my dad's from Birmingham, and he's from Birmingham.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Exactly.
So I went to Howard University School of Architecture. I've been out of school since 2009. Came back to Los Angeles, got pretty heavily involved with NOMA, and started doing the camp. So at this point, I'm pretty deeply involved in the camp and trying to make it fun for the kids. And really, the way you put it, what goes where is can apply to urban planners, engineers.
You understand that? Yeah.
That's perfect.
For lay people who don't understand why we appreciate that thing, that library or whatever public service is where it is and so accessible to us.
Yep.
We think, or we can be led to think that, it's just happenstance, but it's not. It's real science behind that.
Yep. And honestly, I was probably a layperson until I got to school. I didn't have a NOMA camp to go to, and actually get my hands on things and design them and build them. So that's the opportunity we're trying to give to these kids. And
stop for a moment.
Sure.
Say that again. You did not have, prior to your exposure,
not at all,
the ability to actually take, even if it's popsicle sticks and
Legos.
cardboard.
I had Legos,
my man.
But I didn't
speak to that. Speak on
it didn't click what I was really learning at the time. But Legos, building anything, even sketches, those kind of things, you find out. Well, I found out later that those talents really helped me in this kind of field. So
it translates further down.
I'm glad he mentioned that urban planning, because like you say, the structure of things we don't think of. I think a lot of people say, what is an urban planner? What is that? And we do have that incorporated in the camp. Planning is see how a city is planned, and I think when people start to think about it, they'd get it. It's like Century Boulevard. You don't want your house next to that strip shopping center and all that major traffic whizzing by. So cities are set up so that there's zones of industrial use, there's zones of commercial use, there's restaurant areas, and there's residential. There's high volume residential with big apartment buildings, and there's low scale with single family. And there's no mistake that these things are segregated in certain ways so that you don't have to live on a street where you can't play touch football in the middle of it, because you would get killed trying to play that on Century Boulevard. So we're going to teach the kids how cities are zoned and why, and how you work within those parameters. And you as an urban planner, if that's what you wanted to get into, you might like architecture but not want to physically design a building, but you could actually shape a city being an urban planner.
Speak on it. I want to come back to Otto. Young, handsome, you could have been anything. You could have been an actor. You probably can sing. You got a good voice. You could have been an athlete. No, not at all. Okay.
Shower only.
Yeah, I'm nice looking too, but I can't sing. However, you could have been anything, perhaps, right? But why at such a young age? Because you're a young man, obviously.
Yeah.
You chose this path.
Well, like most young kids, I thought I was going to be playing sports in college and, NFL, NBA. I don't know. My head was kind of in the clouds. And when I applied to Howard University, I had to pick a major. So I'm looking at the list. I don't like writing essays. So I figured, why not try to build something, And about a year or two in, I realized, wow, this is really what I'm here to do. So.
In the few moments we have left before the break, where are you now?
So I work
at you're a graduate.
I'm working to become an architect, but currently I'm at an engineering firm. They're working on a lot of the metro lines that you see being built now on Crenshaw Boulevard, on National, going east and west to Santa Monica, downtown. There's really metro train projects happening all over the city. So I'm heavily involved in that and trying to work my way back to buildings instead of just train stations.
And how long have you been graduated?
2009 I graduated.
Okay,
so
very nice.
Been working since 2010. It was a little rough when I got out, but
you're there.
Here
wow.
now.
All you got to do is work hard at it.
Yep.
Right. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Speak On It tonight. Here with the fine ladies and gentlemen of NOMA. We've got my main man, Reuben, Michael, Otto. We've also got Tyler and his mom joining us in the wings. So stay tuned. We've got more show coming straight ahead. Speak On It, sponsored by NOMA. And let's give out some details about the summer camp coming up. Why don't you, Reuben?
Yes. The summer camp, again, is August 1st, 8th, and 15th. It costs $100 for the all-inclusive.
$90 if you tell them you heard it here.
Yeah, and $90, that's right. If you tell them that you heard her speak on it. That's right. Right.
You got some kids you going to send?
I don't have kids, but I'll be volunteering.
Yes. And just a little on the camp, that basically one day will be field trips and 2 days will be some hands-on, and later in the show, Otto will tell you more in-depth on what will be covered in there. But they'll even get into some computer graphics and everything.
I want to talk about the field trips. I want to talk about the computer graphics, the CAD, the computer-assisted design of it. After the break, can we get into that?
Sure. Yes, we can.
As well, and we're going to get Tyler on a little bit later on in the show. Stay tuned. Speak on it. Say it, own it, believe it. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Hosted tonight by the fine ladies and gentlemen of the National Organization of Minority Architects and their 2015 summer camp. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
Pretend to be older than you are. Give yourself time to grow. You're thinking he can give you wealth, but so young boys, you can use a lot of help, you know. You're thinking life's all about smoking weed and ice. You don't want to be my age and can't read and write. Begging different women for a place to sleep at night. Smart boys turn them in and do whatever they wish. If you believe you can achieve, then say it like this. I know I can. I know I can. Be what I want to be. Be what I want to be. If I work hard at it. If I work hard. I'll be where I wanna be. I'll be where I wanna be. Go. I know I can. I know I can. Be what I wanna be. Be what I wanna be. If I work hard at it. If I work hard at it. I'll be where I wanna be. I'll be where I wanna be. Before we came to this country, we were kings and queens, never porch monkeys. There was empires in Africa called Kush, Timbuktu, where every race came to get books to learn from black teachers who taught Greeks and Romans, Asian Arabs, and gave them gold. When gold was converted to money, it all changed. Money then became empowerment.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Do you or does someone you know have sickle cell disease? Have you heard about the EPIC study? It's an international research study evaluating an investigational drug aimed at shortening the duration of painful crisis. And with over 50 sites in the US, there may be a site near you. To learn more and to find out if the EPIC study is right for you, visit www.theepicstudy.com.
So-Cal NOMA, the Southern California chapter of the National Organization of Minority Architects, is hosting its 6th annual 3-day summer camp on 3 consecutive Saturdays in August. August 1st, August 8th, and August 15th for young people ages 10 through 16. Campers will enjoy a 1-day field trip to iconic architectural buildings throughout Los Angeles and 2 days of hands-on building design experiences, including how to use a 3-dimensional computer software program. The total cost of the camp is just $100 per camper and includes lunch, snacks, and it lasts all day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. To learn more and to register, please go to SoCalNOMA.org. That's SoCal, NOMA.org, and click on the Camp NOMA page. So-Cal NOMA, proud sponsors of LA Talk Live and the Talk Live Broadcast Network.
Disability awareness experts, empowering and advocating for the rights of people with disabilities. The professional consultants at Disability Awareness Experts create awareness through consultation for ADA legislation and federal compliance, fair hiring practices, and educating businesses on how to hire people with disabilities. With affordable prices offered at different levels, our mission is to empower the lives of people with disabilities and enhance employment opportunities. For more information, visit www.daexperts.net. That's www.daexperts.net or call 202-549-4793. The Disability Awareness Experts, educating and empowering individuals with disabilities. Proud sponsors of the Veterans Day Live.
They claim we're products from the bottom of hell, 'cause the black is back and it's bound to sell. Picture us cooling out on the 4th of July, and if you heard we were celebrating, that's a worldwide lie. Yo, Chuck, the fat data rules, man, trying to
Yeah. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Speak On It. And I wanted to play this particular song by Public Enemy, Louder Than a Bomb. It was really mostly because of the pre-roll to that song. For those of you who think we'll be closed tomorrow, picture us cooling out on the 4th of July. Yeah, it ain't Independence Day for me. I got to work, so we'll be here tomorrow. Be sure to stay tuned for a brand new episode of the Sports Lounge Live, which is one of our newest shows with Ferran Dozier, Ilya Daly. Got a brand new show. It's going to be hot tomorrow. And also tune in for Ferran Dozier himself on WDC Radio in his new time at 4 p.m. Pacific. That's Sports Lounge Live at 2 and WDC Radio with Ferran Dozier at 4 p.m. Yes, we're open. Anyway, welcome back to the show. Here with the fine ladies and gentlemen of NOMA. And we're here talking about opportunities in architecture, in city planning, and urban planning. There's so many great things going on as it relates to this country and what's necessary. You know, lots of politicians, lots of advertising, lots of discussion about rebuilding the country. The bridges are crumbling. The roads are falling apart. There's buildings that need to be rebuilt. Well, there's opportunity out there. How that will play out in the coming years for minorities, as they call us, or black and brown people, as we are, not minorities, in case y'all aren't counting. How that plays out for us will be told in the future. But at least for you parents out there, sure, you can send your young person to your child to some summer camp where they can. I hope you send them to learn to swim, because you know black babies drown at higher alarming rates than other kids. So teach them how to swim. Okay, get that out the way. But if you're just getting them out of the house, at least for the first 3 Saturdays of August, this coming August, you can send them not just to a summer camp, but a camp where they will learn a trade, a profession, a career, an avocation, something that will take them to the next level of their lives. I want to swing the mic now to our guest host tonight, my good friend Reuben Jacobs, who is one of the organizers for this summer camp and also a member of the So-Cal organization of the National Organization of Minority Architects, a guy that I've learned to love and admire because, as his background will obviate, that this brother is one of those reasons that I love architecture. I love structure. I love the science of what goes where and why. Tell us a little bit more about what you guys got planned coming up for that event, and also
I want to go a little
deeper,
countrywide with NOMA and kind of its history. So the National Organization of Minority Architects was actually founded in the 70s by a small group of African American architects that saw that they really didn't have a voice, a place in the architectural profession. And they vowed to create this organization and did. And it's grown into like over a dozen chapters across the country.
If I may pause you there, because that was quite an observation, a discernment to realize that, wow, what opportunities are we leaving as a legacy for young black and brown people? I would hope that you've had some experience or at least some contact with these founders, and if not, can you speak from your own experience with the organization? What do you think inspired them just beyond, okay, here's a good place to get a job?
Oh, it was, you're talking architects, and many of them either could not get jobs or had already moved beyond jobs and had created their own firms but weren't getting the projects and the work. So they strive to make a coalition to make themselves and their architectural community better. So that's why they created NOMA. And I'd be remiss not to talk about the fact that one of the founding architects, one of the last surviving ones, just passed away a couple of weeks ago, Harold Williams, which is one of our very own, because most of these architects were from all around the country. He was one that settled in Los Angeles. He did the Compton Civic Center, and a host of other buildings. King Drew Magnet High School, he did that project. And so he mentored, it's funny, he passed away at 91, so one of the people specifically that he mentored is my mentor. So that's how far back.
Please.
Who is Rhonda Hayes, Bunny Hayes, shout out to her.
Rhonda Bunny Hayes.
Yep. And
a black
she's
female architect. Let's pause for that. That's important, you know.
Yeah. And so they're
a little bit about her history. Can you tell us a little bit more about her?
Well, it's
and her impact on you.
She's kind of a very interesting story, because really one of her main mentors was the third licensed African American woman architect in the country, Norma Sklaric. And Norma worked for one of the biggest firms in Los Angeles, and she worked on big things like Pacific Design Center, San Bernardino City Hall, a black woman
worked on the Pacific Design Center.
And as Bunny told me her interesting story is she got out of Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and she thought she was going to blaze the world and be one of the first licensed architects, and here came this article in Essence or Ebony on this Norma Scalera and showed her, and she's like, wow. So she went and visited Norma. Norma said, come on down and see me, and she got Norma got her a job in that firm, and she actually was working in that firm with some of the people that was with the gentleman that was here the last time I was here. So it's kind of it's a small world, and we are pulling each other up. Otto, when he got out of school and got back here, because he's from Los Angeles, we tried our best to help pull him up. One of the gentlemen that was here the last show, as one of the directors, we oversaw while he was at USC as actually NOMA, actually helped him get through school, and now he's only 10 years behind me, but that means he's old too. He is now pulling up the people behind us, and all we have to do is really blink and everybody's getting older, because some of our camp alumni, as we call them, we have 2 of them that'll be on the show today, and one of them is in his 3rd year at Arizona State University. I can't believe that, because it was just a minute ago he was in the camp, and when I say a minute ago, Otto was working on the camp when he was in the camp. Yep. So it's a minute. But you know, you have that history. But like I said, I do want to mention Harold Williams Memorial will be next Friday at 1 p.m. at Angela's Funeral Home, for listeners that might be out there that know him, knew of his work and that sort of thing. But more on the organization and some of the professional things we do, I just want to state we do several seminars and different things.
You have one coming up,
and we have one coming up next week, Saturday.
Put up the banner for it right now,
which is on real estate development. So it is really on how do you develop small-scale projects from commercial to residential.
Now, why did NOMA choose to pick up that topic, especially in a country where we've just recovered, or maybe are still recovering, from a real estate bubble that burst? I thought it was really interesting, and not just interesting, compelling, because, you know, in the aftermath of that whole debacle, people lost faith in real estate, particularly black folks who, of course, you know, we're like last hired, first fired. Real estate industry collapses. We're the first to be affected by it. You know, we've got lots of tales, I'm sure you do, of minority-owned or black-owned real estate firms and perhaps even architect firms who were more severely impacted by the burst of this recent real estate bubble. So when you talked earlier on in a recent show, prior show, about doing this real estate component of it, I thought that was very important to get that message back out there. And I hope part of what you guys are going to educate your attendees by, black or white, doesn't matter, that there is a comeback occurring.
Well,
and that land development, architecture, and, you know, real estate doesn't end.
I do want to speak on that specifically, because I think a lot of our folks are thinking, when you think real estate, you're either thinking flipping a home, which is just basically some quick in and out, some equity coming, or we're thinking that we
it ain't a strip club anymore.
Yeah,
it's not a strip club.
You're not going to get.
Not a strip club
you're not going to get 30,000, 50,000 in equity buildup over 2 months, because that stupidness is over.
Right.
You real estate development is not merely being a real estate agent, because the broker's taking half of your money. Real estate development means just that, to develop. Buy the land, figure out what goes on it. If you're not an architect, hire one to do that, build it and sell it. That's how you make money. That's how you become Jerry Buss that owned the Lakers, Sterling. All those guys made their money not owning basketball and football teams. They made their money in real estate. Do you know that a good 80% of the NFL owners made their money in real estate?
And I think we would be remiss as well, Reuben, if we didn't give a shout out to Charles Quarles of the Bedford Group, who is one of the country's most well-known and most accomplished black landowners and developers.
Right. That's what we're talking about when it comes to real estate development. So this seminar is really focusing on one of our former organization presidents, he actually bought his land, built his building, occupied a portion of it, but leased out the rest. And then he sold it only less than a year ago. That's development. Another thing for the listeners is you don't have to be Donald Trump to be a developer. So now this seminar is going to get into small-scale residential development, how you're only able to have a single-family house on a single-family lot. Now you're able to do a second unit on your lot in LA County.
But you need to figure out, or you need to connect with an architect, unless you just want to throw up some shanty that the city's going to shut you down.
My saying always
Speak
is,
on that, please.
Before you build, you need a plan.
Right.
and let Michael
please.
talk over there.
Well, I also think
closer to your microphone.
You want
please.
to be able to leverage
Even
whatever
closer.
your investment dollars.
There you go.
So you want to get the value out of your dollars. And by hiring the proper professionals, you can help leverage that investment that you're making. I mean, you're actually putting up when you're looking at real estate, it's a considerable investment. You want to hire good quality people. And part of what NOMA does is through their network of all the built environment professionals, we have that depth of people who are architects, who are engineers, and who are interior designers as well as planners, who can help you put together a well thought out plan for a development opportunity. And that's how you actually shape your built environment. When you're a developer, you have the control because you're controlling the finances. So you have much more say as a developer in what the actual end product is going to be.
And actually, you're more than halfway there. An architect's fees are usually in the nature of 10% of the value of the project. So it's not like the architect is taking this. A lawyer takes 30% if he wins you that case, right?
40 really.
Yeah.
On a contingency case.
On a contingency, but so maybe more. So we're actually there to help you figure out what you're going to do, what you can do, and then help you exercise that. So you don't have to become an architect. But again, a seminar like this is for the homeowner that's trying to figure out, well, can I do this on my lot? Or now that I know what I can do with property, when I see a certain property, that might be the deal I want to go into, because then I'll hire an architect to help me do it. So it's supposed to be a piece of information for not only architects but those that want to start to get into development.
Reuben, if I could jump in real quick, I was over in Watts. I'm a East Coast guy, and one of the things that I find fascinating about both Watts and Compton is that they have land with chickens running around and roosters, whatever, and horses, and I'm like, this is the ghetto? Not where I come from. However, it is what it is, or it is what they make it. That said, I went to this one plot of land where I learned that a parent or a grandparent had houses moved to this plot of land. Now the houses themselves are completely ready for development. In other words, they're dilapidated. They don't look really good. They're real beat up. But the land itself is like, oh my God, are you serious? Like L.A.? So what they call it, Compton. You got this much land in the second largest city in the nation, and you got a tarp on your roof.
And our job is to help that building become
person develop that property, and quite possibly pass that on as a legacy.
And the building
to their project.
I'll give you one example that I found very interesting. The infamous Paul Williams, the master architect that did,
let me pull up one of his images.
the theme restaurant there at LAX. He did Angela's Funeral Home, Maverick's Flat, a whole lot of other stuff. I found out only a few years ago that he did Nickerson Gardens. Don't know if you knew that. And if you squinted and you looked at the floor plans for Nickerson Gardens, how many of you know Village Green? Village Green and Nickerson Gardens, it's the same thing. It's the same building. It's the same design. It's the same Garden City apartment. So it's what you make of it. And we know that Nickerson Garden is brought down as this ghetto. And, well, if you want it to stay a ghetto, that's what it'll be. But it doesn't have to be. The building's great.
Forgive me, Reuben, I pulled you off track. I want to get back to the event you guys got coming up in about a week or so Let's get back to that. I've got the banner up.
Just to quickly on that seminar on
Details,
real estate
all the
development. The details is it is at 221 East Walnut Street in Pasadena. It will be, that is Saturday, July 11th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. The cost is $20 through July 6th. If you go to our website, SoCalNOMA.org, you can go to the events page and you would see all the details on that. But that's where it's going to be.
What are they going to learn? What am I going to get for my $20? I want me some property. You know,
we have.
What am I going to get?
We have two main speakers that will be talking. One will be the architect that developed his own land, designed that, so small scale commercial development. We have a city planner that's a 30-year Los Angeles city planner that will be talking about that single family home that you can start to do a second unit on, and also something called small lot subdivisions, where now you can take a lot as small as 6,000 square feet. For many of you, that means your regular small LA lot, 50 by 100, basically 60 by 100, a little more, and create and develop as many units as you can get parking on there for, which really on that smaller scale, you could still get 3 to 4 townhouse units on a lot that small. So if you're looking at, like you said, a dilapidated house on a lot of that size that is in the right zone, buy it, because you could knock that house down and build something that you're going to sell, obviously, for a lot more.
I think it is so absolutely important to stress the value, though, of having an architect, because so many people have gotten into real estate thinking I can figure this out on my own. They've gotten into problems with zoning and licensing, or maybe they've acquired a piece of property and sold it too soon because of city planning. They didn't look at the city planning situation for a particular area. I look at Detroit and all of its dilapidation and think to myself, oh my God, if I could spend 6 months to a year there to act like a resident and buy up some of those city blocks for pennies on a dollar, anybody with a right mind could figure that inevitably that land's coming back, as it always does. But again, you cannot overstress the value of an architect to help you figure out, as a layperson, the science of what goes where.
It is. It's a vision. It's a vision, and that's what we've been
architects
trained
are visionaries.
to do. That's what we've been trained to do. That's all we did for 5 years, is live through that vision.
You say 5 years. I know you've got some other stuff to cover, but again, I think it's important, at least from my perspective and what we've talked about already, from the technical side, from the professional side. Last time I was here with you, we talked about how sexy it is to be an architect. You know, lots of money, fancy cars, you got your own tastes. You're not just an average dude. You like different types of ties and different types of shirts. I know you architects are. Anyway, I'm all joking. But we've talked about all that part of it. But let's take at least a few seconds to talk about the 5-year commitment. Not the 15, the 12, the 20, whatever it takes to become a doctor or a lawyer or an Indian chief.
I'm going to talk about it real briefly, and I'm going to let Michael talk about interior design, and then we're going to let Tyler talk about it, because Tyler is right now at ASU's environmental design school, so he could tell you right.
Is it sexy, Tyler? Say that answer. Is it sexy? You have to answer that when you come to the mic.
But architecture is a 5-year degree to get a professional degree in architecture. What that is with that degree, then you'd be empowered to take the exams to become a licensed architect. So if you don't get a bachelor's degree in architecture, you can go a different route. If you've got a degree in something else, you can get a master's degree, a la what Michael did to get a degree in interior architecture. She already had a degree in something else, computer science, I think, or what have you. But she'll tell you more. She mentioned it, yeah. But that's your route. And it's like everything else. I think a lot of kids get caught up in, oh, this is so many years. You got a lot of years ahead of you. Just get over it.
Well, I thought it was important to point out it's only 4 to 5 years.
It's 5 years.
It takes you longer to get in the NBA.
Yeah.
It takes you longer to get in the NFL. Let's keep it real.
You gotta
unless you got incredibly unique talents, If you're not LeBron
if you're
James,
LeBron, you're everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's going to take you 4 to 5 years to really get to that level.
After you get that degree, you still need internship, you need training in a firm. So it's going to take a while. I feel I'm just getting close to the point where I need to know enough, and I'll be 51 next week. Okay.
And that's your journey. But I think it's also valuable to say that it doesn't take that long to find yourself gainfully employed.
Absolutely.
Let's speak to that part of it.
Well, what?
Making any money, Michael?
Beginning to. I mean, I'm a person who transitioned during the recession, so it's starting to ramp up.
And please understand, I'm not trying to get everybody focused on the money side of this, because there is the art side of this, and you'll find your passion in this industry one way or the other, through one field or another. There's lots of ancillary fields that, surround being an architect. And I'm not trying to drive kids towards the money, but, we got a situation in our society where kids think, bling bling, and, they think the only way to really be gainfully employed is to be an athlete or an entertainer, and that's not true. And the power that our architects, black architects in particular, have had on our society, it can't be just lightly brushed off. And interior design, again, the science of what goes where, so I don't want to get people focused on, he's all about the money. No, I'm not. I'm all about helping our people become gainfully employed and find other paths to prosperity and success.
What they're finding now is that when you get into a field such as architecture, interior design, and some aspects of engineering, it's a very because you have great problem-solving skills. You learn how to break down a problem and approach it in a very analytical
and
way.
Structured,
but
perhaps?
There's also a creative element, because since you're dealing with people in the built environment, you really have to understand how people function in the world. So there's a certain, I won't say psychological element, but you kind of really have to understand people. And I think that is the difference between us and some of the other sciences. And that's why you'll get, Stanford, for instance, going towards, their design thinking kind of curriculum, because they found that the way that designers approach problem solving is very relevant in many different avenues. And what architects, engineers, interior designers, your education is your baseline, and very often what happens after that is you then have to work a couple of years, and then you sit for some type of licensing or exam. So the education is the baseline, and then you actually have to have practical experience under, someone else who's more experienced than you, and then typically there's some type of licensing exam that lets you then proves what you know, and then you can kind of work on your own.
But I want to step back on one thing she said was really key, what the camp helps with, and what architects, engineers, designers are doing is critical thinking. So critical thinking. This sort of, it's not 2 + 2 is 4, but you're problem solving. You're actually creating the problem and then solving it. We teach that in the camp. We're taught that in school, and it's ironic. On the last show that you had to miss, one of the camp parents was here, and she is an educator, and I now have a teaching credential myself, and that is a big thing in the elementary level teaching, is that they're starting to talk more about critical thinking and how it's not just the information you're giving kids, but you're getting them to think more about trying to figure it out themselves. That's kind of the best way to say it without being technical. And that's a lot of what architecture is. You're not often given the problem by the client. You have to figure out what the problem is and then solve it. So critical thinking helps you do that, where a lot of your kind of elementary training before was 2 + 2 is this. How do you what is that, instead of trying to actually create the problem. And the parent to Tyler, she's an educator, and she's here too, so maybe she can speak to that a little bit more as well.
You want to get on the mic? Is that right?
I want to get them on the mic.
Miss Cynthia Williams is going to be joining us on the mic with her son Tyler Stroud after the break. You know, you folks live in this structured... let me take that back. I see you living beyond the confines of our unstructured life, which is why I admire architecture and the what goes where of stuff, because I'm a very structured guy. I very seldom lose my keys or wallet. I put stuff in the same place every night before I go to bed. I wake up in the morning and go to the same place to find them. And even though you may not live that life per se, maybe those are my particular idiosyncrasies, the fact of the matter is what you create in the living environment, is that how you're saying that? In the built environment.
We say the built environment.
I love how you say that, because you're there, and we little minions outside of that built environment who take advantage of it and live by it and know where to go to the library and know where the corner store is and love the building that we live in and love that we have trees in certain places and parks in certain areas. See, to us as on the other side of your profession, it's fascinating that someone had the foreknowledge and the intellect and the design concept and the structure to help us with our life. Because, you know, if you left it to us and we're not architects, the library would be in the wrong neighborhood and the liquor store would be in the wrong neighborhood.
Sadly, it is really, sometimes anyway.
It really is the what goes where of things to people outside of your profession that make our lives easier. I can't express my passion for that enough, because even though it seems normal and natural to you guys and for whatever it does, it really breaks down to how society flows, and as people who are not in the industry, how we live our lives and how you make our lives so much more accessible and easy.
The art of building.
The art of building. And in the built environment. I love that reference, man. I just can't get enough of that. We got to take a break. Excuse me, folks. I don't mean to take over the show, but we'll be right back with more from the fine ladies and gentlemen of NOMA. We're going to talk more about their summer camp after this. We've got Tyler Stroud and Miss Cynthia Williams, his mom, joining him on the mic. Make sure we don't say the wrong thing. We'll be right back. Speak on it.
Women now make up 37% of the workforce, changing their role forever.
Harvard Medical School has now opened its doors to new female applicants.
The first woman is now in space.
The majority of last year's doctorate degrees were earned by women.
We've come so far, but our news is changing for the worse. More women die from heart disease and stroke than men, even though it can be prevented. Make a change at GoRedForWomen.org today. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the American Heart Association's Go Red for Women.
Awareness experts empowering and advocating for the rights of people with disabilities. The professional consultants at Disability Awareness Experts create awareness through consultation for ADA legislation and federal compliance, fair hiring practices, and educating businesses on how to hire people with disabilities. With affordable prices offered at different levels, our mission is to empower the lives of people with disabilities and enhance employment opportunities. For more information, visit www.daexperts.net. That's www.daexperts.net. Or call 202-549-4793. The Disability Awareness Experts, educating and empowering individuals with disabilities. Proud sponsors of the Veterans Day Live.
Do you or does someone you know have sickle cell disease? Have you heard about the EPIC study? It's an international research study evaluating an investigational drug aimed at shortening the duration of painful crisis. And with over 50 sites in the U.S., there may be a site near you. To learn more and to find out if the EPIC study is right for you, visit www.theepicstudy.com.
Hi, I'm Michael Carson, America's Fitness Coach. You've seen me on the cover of fitness magazines, on celebrity talk shows, and even on the Home Shopping Network. Well, my years of training celebrities and creating products for major corporations has led me to my most revolutionary product yet. It's called Fit in Seconds, and I'm going to be able to get you fit in just seconds. Fit in Seconds is a 90-second video workout routine you'll do 15 minutes before each meal. And you're going to receive these workouts weekly on your cell phone, tablet, and your computer to make sure that they're always with you. And these workouts maximize burning calories. You will not be able to store fat. You're going to be building lean muscle mass that burns calories far after your workouts as well. And the routines you get weekly are developed by me. I'm a master trainer, developing the physique that you want, beautifying your body, improving your posture, and making you look younger. I've been doing it for celebrities for years. Now it's time to do it for you.
So-Cal NOMA, the Southern California chapter of the National Organization of Minority Architects, is hosting its 6th annual 3-day summer camp on 3 consecutive Saturdays in August. August 1st, August 8th, and August 15th for young people ages 10 through 16. Campers will enjoy a 1-day field trip to iconic architectural buildings throughout Los Angeles and 2 days of hands-on building design experiences, including how to use a 3-dimensional computer software program. The total cost of the camp is just $100 per camper and includes lunch, snacks, and it lasts all day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. To learn more and to register, please go to SoCalNOMA.org. That's SoCalNOMA.org and click on the Camp NOMA page. So-Cal NOMA, proud sponsors of LA Talk Live and the Talk Live Broadcast Network.
Hubert's Lemonade, tasty, refreshing, sweet, and tart. Happiness in a bottle. Visit Hubert's Lemonade at Hubert'sLemonade.com. Once again, that's Hubert'sLemonade.com. Happiness in a bottle.
If you hear this message, wherever you stand, I'm calling every woman, calling every man. We're the generation, we can't afford to wait. The future started yesterday, and we're already late. We've been looking for a song to sing. We search for a melody, search for someone to lead. We've been looking for the world to change. If you feel the same, then go on and say if you're out there.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's episode of Speak On It with the ladies and gentlemen of NOMA. They've got a summer camp coming up this August 1st, 8th, and 15th, where you can send your young person to learn a craft, a trade, a career that may well pay for your retirement plan. So all you mamas and daddies out there who are trying to figure out what to do with your young person this summer, send them to the So-Cal NOMA Summer Camp for Architects. They'll learn so much and have hands-on experiences. They'll learn computers, they'll learn computer-aided design, and I promise you, by the young people that we have on our show tonight, it's so valuable for us to begin to reclaim our rich legacy of building and shaping the world we live in. My favorite new term, the built environment. So we're back with some young people from NOMA tonight. We were listening to the wise and sage words of my new and good friend, Reuben Jacobs. He's going to design my fancy house when I get $1 million. You can count on that. But also we were talking to Otto and Michel. Otto Stallworth and Michel, last name escapes me, we'll get it done. Michel Dory, in fact, interior designer. And now we've got, let's see, we've got Tyler Stroud, Cynthia Williams, and is that Rylon on the other end of the table with us?
Yes.
Stand up and make a joyous noise. Welcome to the show, young brother. Got here a little late, but we're happy to have you just the same. So welcome all of you. So now you're stuck with me. All right? And now I'm going to put you all through it. I want to start with you, though, Tyler. I know you brought your mom, Cynthia, with you here tonight.
Yes.
Let's give her a rousing round of applause, Mom, for showing up tonight and supporting your son. And we're going to be talking to you, man, about your experience with the summer camp.
Okay.
So let's swing it to you.
So, I was in the program probably 3 years ago. I did it for 3 years in a row from...
And now you're a wealthy architect, making lots of money, got a Porsche. That's your Porsche outside?
Oh, yeah, that's it.
No? Okay. My bad.
Yeah, I'm a third-year environmental design student in Arizona State right now.
Wow. That deserves a round of applause in and of itself, so let me give you a round of applause for that, indeed. That's more valuable than the cars and all that old fancy stuff that comes later. You brought your mom with you tonight, and again, you know, our audience is very happy. the little tiny people that live in my soundboard here. Very happy to see you, Cynthia. Thank you for joining us tonight here on Speak On It. What do you think so far?
Oh, I love
What
it.
a mess, huh? But we do have fun.
Wonderful experience.
Getting the word out, indeed. Come back to you. And I know we still got Otto with us, and we've also got this other young gentleman. Let me see. What's his name again?
Rylon.
There you go, Rylon. That's what I said. I want to talk to the mom, though. What inspired you to get Tyler involved with the summer camp?
Well, Tyler is a very good artist, and he was always interested in designing spaces and houses growing up. And I heard about the camp through a colleague of mine. And
what may I ask, as a colleague, is someone who is in the industry?
No.
I'm not a colleague. I'm saying your colleague referred you to this. How? So
I think it was actually Rylon's mom, right?
Okay.
Rylon's mom.
May I ask what you do is a question. I didn't want to be newsy, but
I'm a school district administrator with LA Unified, and I had the opportunity to work with NOMA also when I was school principal.
Very nice.
And some of the members of NOMA came out and worked with my teachers and students on architectural activities. So I knew of the work that they did in the community. And when I heard about the camp, I knew it would be wonderful for my son.
My mom, when my father and older brother would be off at work, made me help her move the couch when I was a preteen. She has passed away, so you can't prosecute her for child labor. God bless her soul. But when I speak about the what goes where of things, I think that's part of the structure of life that she taught me. And I joke about it. I said it very lightly earlier. I do live a very structured life, and I think that's something that's very missing with young black men. A lot of the grown black men that I've met live lives. If they live alone, it's very unstructured. Clothes are over here, and I'm not saying all architects are neat and stuff like that. I'm not saying I'm an architect because I'm neat, or that if you are an architect, you got to be neat. But it's all about structure. And my mom making me, well, not making me, but not forcing me, but I enjoyed helping her move stuff around in the living room to make the living room look different, because I enjoyed it just because, wow, the couch is over here now. Oh, I can watch TV better from this angle. It was all that kind of little stuff that helped me define for myself how I wanted my living environment to be. You know, when we talk about architecture in a broader scale, and one of my favorite new references is the built environment. Did any of that, did you make him move furniture, in other words?
No.
Any of that structural aspect of it came into his life, or you just found his passion through his artwork? Is that what it was?
I just saw these drawings that he would make that were just incredibly detailed. Structured, that I never saw before. I know he would do work with his father growing up. His father's in the real estate appraisal business, and I think that might have had something to do with how he looked at things.
Tyler, does what I feel as a complete outsider make any sense to someone like yourself, who is in fact in the throes of the education thereof?
Yes.
The what goes where of stuff, I hate to keep repeating that, and structure. Does that make sense, though?
Yes, you pretty much care about the aesthetics of your built environment.
Closer to your mic, yeah.
You care about the aesthetics of your built environment.
Can that be translated to other young people in such a way to help them care?
Yeah, you like if you want things to look better, you move the couch a certain way, or
and even outside the home.
Yes.
Let's say. How do we communicate to young people? First of all, don't throw trash on the ground. That's a long topic. I won't bore you with that. How did you develop your passion for this part of your life, though, in terms of designing the built environment?
Like my major?
Yes.
I care about improving the environment through the design.
Why?
I care because I don't know. It's just basically at school. It was very progressive. It's a very progressive environment, and it supports sustainability and just healthy living for the built environment. So I don't know, college is definitely like helping my major and my interests.
Did you have a appreciation for the built environment in terms of structures? Like, as a kid, I'd walk down the street, and and you see an old building and a gargoyle. It's like, why did he put that there? Wow, that's a very intricate piece of concrete and stuff like that. You feel that too?
Yeah, I definitely have felt that growing up. And like my mom said, my dad was a real estate appraiser.
Right. So yeah, you are.
Yeah, like I would be with him on inspections, and like I would see him draw like the buildings and everything, and like I thought that was really interesting. I wish I could make a career out of that, and that's what drove me to architecture. So,
did you ever see a building that moved you though? That you just felt something about, like, I like the way that's designed.
Yeah, like the rotational airport restaurant by Paul Williams. That's very interesting.
I'm gonna pull that up real quick, man. Let people see that. You know, I really and I made the mistake of saying it live on the air, and I was corrected. I don't mind being, because I'm a learner, right? That's not the old control tower of LAX, because I thought it was. I'm like, wow, what a cool city to have such a cool control tower. And I believe it was Reuben who pointed out to me, no, dude, that was always a restaurant. It was never designed to be a control tower. But what a structure. And Paul Williams, being the architect, a black man. That moves you.
Yeah.
Have you been inside it?
No, actually.
I have not either. Let's go get lunch one day.
Okay.
Me, you, and your mom, let's go get lunch there one day. You can bring your husband. I'm not trying to say that. All right. But anyway, I want to go in that place so bad, because now, and especially now that I know it wasn't designed as a control tower, I really want to get in there so bad. Let's go have lunch there one day. It's right down the block. All right? You know, we got some other guests with us tonight. I've got to swing the mic to the other end of the table and ask these young people to introduce themselves. Now, you know, we heard from Otto earlier on in the show, who joined us with Michael Dory and Reuben Jacobs, but we've also got Rylon Beard, who's a summer camp alumni. Let me get my lazy audience to put their hands together for you there, Rylon. Make a joyous noise for Rylon Beard. Student at El Camino College, studying software programming. Wow, I'm in the room with fellow nerds. You know, actually, I am a computer programmer from back in the early 80s, way before PCs. Yes, I am that old. There were no personal computers, right? And I took up programming. And I realized I'm better off talking to people, so let me get into sales. So I wound up in sales, and that led me into entrepreneurship, and then into radio, and then later into this business that we're doing right now. But you are into computer programming as well, computer software.
Yeah.
Wow. What's out there going on in the computer programming world nowadays? What language are you learning?
Well, lately I have been trying to learn binary code.
Okay.
It was a really interesting, like...
Are you familiar with Assembler? COBOL?
No, I am not.
RPG2? How about BASIC?
I'm literally just starting.
Getting started.
My first year of college.
That's cool. That's cool.
But what got me interested in software programming itself was when I was at So-Cal NOMA.
I need you closer to your microphone.
Oh,
yeah.
There
close. There you go.
All right.
Put your Barry White voice on.
So what got me to software programming was when I was at So-Cal NOMA. I was with my mom, and we used smart boards, and we were working on...
What's a smart board? Speak to the lay people out there.
A smart board is just like this whiteboard that is used through a computer to like bring it up to different images using...
A digital,
yeah,
you know, chalkboard, in other words.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah. And, well... we were working with a different program that I never really heard of until that day. It was Google SketchUp. And we were just working on making our own little buildings. We were playing with the software, and I looked at it, and it looked really cool. And you could just bring up your building how big you wanted, how small you wanted, different curve sizes, big walls. I made like a mansion. It was cool.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, how do you do that? Then they brought up another program where this guy brought up like this, I want to say building plan, and it was about like 80 stories big, and it was just on the program, but it just looked so detailed. I was like, it looks something out of the Matrix, and it just made me really interested from that point. And I was just like, okay, I really want to learn how to do that. And like the whole camp just really brought my interest to it, like how people in architecture would sort of make their own like small models, and I wanted to be that person to help them do that, to bring it to a computer or bringing it to like a bigger visual to show their like people they're building it for, to their bosses, and just making that program more easier or even more accessible to everybody, even kids who just really want to learn it. And it just sparked my interest from that point.
I'm pulling up some images, and while I do, whoever wants to get in next, Otto, please.
I did want to mention, so Google SketchUp, for anybody who's listening, that's a free program. If you type SketchUp in Google, you can download that and start building like Rylon said.
Very fun.
And we're also going to be using that at the camp. You'll be able to get hands-on with that and, you know, run with it.
Now, Otto, I want to get back to you. When you talk about Google SketchUp, let's give our viewers out there, or at least the parents thereof, who may be curious about getting their kids involved with this, a little bit of the experience that they're going to go through when they go there.
Right.
And it's free, obviously. Google's giving it away. They got plenty of money.
Yep.
They give away a program like
that's
that.
That's a free program.
Word.
So pretty much we have the 3-day camp is broken up. The first day is a little more of an education day. So we're going to be talking about architecture, engineering, and urban planning. And then we're going on a field trip to try to get the kids face to face with those professions and how it happens in our.
Can I jump in real quick?
Sure.
I meant to ask Reuben.
Sure.
Do we know where the field trip is?
The field trip's to the Getty Center.
Oh my God!
So
really?
On the way there, we're
gonna explain it, please. Can somebody take a moment to tell them what these kids are going to experience?
Well, yeah, Getty Center is a state-of-the-art museum.
Oh my God!
Up on the hills, right before you get to the valley.
There's a tram that takes you up there.
Right.
The tram alone is worth the cost of admission, and it's free. Right.
Yep.
The camp is $100, $90 if you tell them you're already there.
Right.
But the experience there, you would normally, be able to go up there and there's a tram that takes you up, but the tram alone is so fun. Tell them about the experience itself.
Yeah, no, the experience is going to be great. The tram goes up the side of the hill. They'll get to see a lot of different architecture and also view the whole city. So we'll talk about kind of how the city's laid out and everything like that. The second day is going to be more hands-on. So we're going to take a big picture look at the city, kind of talk about urban planning. The kids will get a profession, so they may be an architect, an engineer, an urban planner.
Break it on down for them.
And yeah, we'll have kind of a small-scale city, maybe 2 of these tables, and they'll actually get to
pull one up. I got an image up. Don't look.
Okay,
keep talking, please.
Yeah.
This is so exciting, dude.
Yeah, they'll get to they'll have to go by the zoning requirements of each area, tie into the freeways, the roads.
Wow.
And then the third day is a little more focused in, so they'll pick one of the projects in their city and develop that further, maybe interior design, and just take as far as they can.
So. All right, so we got a few minutes left. I want to get back to Cynthia, and I want to talk more. You're an educator, a career educator. The value of this to our community, can we speak to that a bit?
Yes.
How important it is for our young brothers and sisters to understand that their careers here, of course, but also opportunities to create our own environments. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. And as I mentioned, NOMA, members of NOMA came to my school when I was school principal. And again, they did hands-on project and activities with the students so that the kids really could see everything that would be involved in planning, designing.
Did that get the kids excited?
Kids were so excited.
So, like, when NOMA comes to class, right, I got to imagine kids' brains just like burst with excitement. Am I wrong?
Children.
Tyler?
No, they love it.
Right?
They love it.
I loved it.
Word.
I love it.
All right.
Yep.
Probably.
I think it's a
you
natural.
as well.
Yeah, it's a
you
natural.
still feel it? I mean, even
definitely.
now,
That's why I do it. And, it's really just raising their awareness because, like mentioned before, we're all a part of architecture. It's around us every day, engineering, planning, everything. So it's really just raising their awareness and letting them know they do have control over their built environment. You just have to find a profession. So
again, Cynthia, as an educator, the kids get excited. What's the follow through like? Obviously, we've got 2 alumnus. Is that the right word? Alumnus, right? Alumni. My bad. Yeah, alumnus, alumni. My bad. I got it. All right. So you've got 2 young people who graduated through the class. What's the follow through at that point, though, for the parents out there who are considering? And I know you're listening, parents. I know you are. Lots of our broadcasters have young people. There are grandparents who are broadcasters here who have young people, and they want to send them off to camp, and not just baseball camp, basketball camp, whatever. They may never make it to pro sports or even entertainment camp. Here's a camp where young people can learn something that if they are an athlete or become an entertainer, something they can absolutely fall back on and make a mark in history on. What's the follow through after they come out of the camp, if you can speak to that briefly?
Well, I remember when my son went to the camp, as a parent, again, I loved seeing the activities that the children were doing, but was so helpful to me as we were working towards applying for colleges. NOMA took the time to talk about different colleges that had an architecture focus that, you know, we did investigate, and my son did apply to several of those schools that NOMA mentioned. So those resources that I never would have necessarily known if I hadn't been a parent observing what was being told to the campers and to the parents was very valuable.
And not just a camper, but also an educator.
Yes.
And so when you speak to the value of this summer camp, it's more than just as in a biased sense because you have a son who's an alumnus. Yes. I got it right? Okay. But also you're an educator. You know the impact of this type of education in our community, especially. It's very, very important. Yeah.
And the school where I was principal had a large minority population, and I was always looking for activities and contacts to share with my parents to make sure that they were able to take advantage of all the community had to offer.
All right. We've got a few more moments left. I'm going to ask Reuben to scoot you on up to the table here with your chair. We're going to get a couple mics shared up. Michael, if you want to scoot you on up as well, bring your chairs over. Want to get you guys in here to say some final words. Michael, come on over. You guys just say where you are, please, Cynthia, and then, you know, Michael, come on this side if you could, or Reuben, one of y'all, get on this other side here. It's reality radio, handcrafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. But again, this is such an important topic to me. I got to say, I want to speak frankly to you guys in the waning moments of this show. I was a youth at risk out of Philadelphia. I know what it's like to have no opportunities or a lot of nonsense going on in the community. I look at these young people, and if you could pull that mic a little closer, Cynthia, and make sure that Michael can get a piece of that as well. I look at young people nowadays and say, wow, you know, I know it's tough. I've been there. I've seen that. I've done that. I get it. But, okay, let's take the excuses off the other guy or the reasons that somebody else is messing up, and let's put the blame, or at least the onus, on ourselves to reinvent ourselves, build our own lives. Now, the architectural aspect of our discussion today has to do with the built environment. You know what? That's my favorite new word. I got that part. But for our young people out there, let's stop making these excuses about our communities and our hoods and our neighborhoods and claiming that's what it's like, and that's why we're singing and rapping about it, and that's all we know. There's so much more dynamic opportunity out there for you. And if you don't believe me, for all you young people out there who are listening, watch what Barack Obama does within the next 18 to 20 months before he leaves office. He is about to change your world and for you eliminate your excuses and give you the opportunity to achieve the life that you really truly believe you can achieve. I'm sitting here looking at y'all. See, this ain't some guesswork or something I read in the book, or I'm read Barack Obama's Audacity of Hope book. This is something I see weekly and daily from young people. And from the moment I met Reuben, I knew that there are these opportunities out there for these young people. So we've got to make them aware that there's no more excuses. We've got to step up, take control of our own lives, and for that matter, recreate our built environments. I want to swing the mic to you guys for some final words as I play some final music. Go.
I guess I would just say,
how you gonna wrap that out?
How you wrap it is,
I was up on my podium
as a lot of people have said, as Tyler said, you know, what sparked him, and it was his dad, and seeing that drawing, that whatever you're passionate about, you need to follow that. And we kind of hear that in the media. It sounds like rainbows and stupidness, but what I mean by that is, if you're really seriously interested in music, well, you got to stop just following Jay-Z, but you've got to find some musicians that you can touch and talk to and see what they're doing and follow that. So when you get that tactile experience and grabbing, then you're going to learn from that. I got it because my dad was that. He got it because his dad was that. And so this great architecture, I saw the magazines coming into our house as a subscription. So I saw that every day. I never got to visit those like Tyler did. But I knew what cool architecture was, and I knew I wanted to be a part of that. So I think our camp is just opening your mind, and I leave it with one statement. It's kind of funny, and I'm gonna clean it up. What George Clinton said: "Free your mind, and your butt will follow."
Now, hold up before you swing that mic. Details about the camp. Give it out, and also the July event.
I'll let Otto say that.
Okay, the camp is August 1st, 8th, and 15th from 8 to 5 p.m. and it's lunch and snacks included, field trips,
That's
hands-on, everything.
They get food and everything.
Yes, sir.
Got backpacks coming, all kinds of little goodies in the backpack. Okay.
Yep.
All right, so let's now go to, we'll swing it to you, Tyler. Any final words? Speak. How old are you?
I'm 20.
20-year-olds out there. A lot of young knuckleheads. You're not. Present company excluded. Absolutely, dude. Freaking love you, man. You know, maybe 20 years from now, if I'm still living, you'll have built something that I can love and appreciate and maybe even occupy. Any words out there to 20-year-olds who've been through what you've been through? Where you from?
LA.
What city? What set you claim?
Torrance.
You feel me?
Yeah.
You've been through all of that nonsense. You got away from it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Already in college. Tell these young fools out there what it is.
Just follow your passion. Like if you whether it's drawing, whether it's laying cities out, you can follow that. There's definitely a career for it and a place to go to set the foundation for it.
There are opportunities beyond Sim City, in other words.
Exactly. I mean, Sim Cities is pretty fun though.
It is pretty cool. Not a bad way to start.
We're gonna play
Michael.
Sim City in real life.
Michael Dory, interior designer.
Definitely
Closer to your dreams.
Come check out the camp. Even if check it out. You don't already have to know you want to be an architect or a designer. Just come, experience it, check it out, see what it taps into. Maybe the architecture and design is not your particular creative zone. We really hope it is, but we just want you to be engaged and to learn something about how your built environment works, so you can in the future act on it, either as a an average citizen or someone in the profession.
Cynthia Williams. Say something to these young people out there, man. We got to get the message out. To you parents out there, please sign your kids up for the camp, but please.
Again, as a parent, it was a wonderful opportunity for the children, and to see how excited they were in using their hands, building from the ground up. Great way to spend 3 Saturdays.
And we got pictures of it. I've been posting all night with young people building stuff, man. And all right, so
I do want to say with the camp, the 2 alumni we have here, their parents were deeply involved in the camp. When I say deeply involved, actually Cynthia was not, but what I mean is she came, she saw what we were doing. It's open doors, so you don't have to just drop your child off. You could come and stay and see it, and so you as a parent can really learn from it, see what your kid is interested in, and actually gain some of that exposure itself. So it's not like the doors are closed. It's open to all to take a look.
Man, heck, it's never too late. Maybe if you're a parent, you might want to go back to architect school.
Well, you heard that one of our people, that's what she did.
All right, so Rylon. Shout out to your family, friends, your mama and them. But no, speak to these young people. How old are you?
I'm 19.
Wow.
Yeah.
19 and 20 here.
Yeah.
See, man, all you people out there think we going in the wrong direction. Get over it, man. We've got mad positivity going on in our community. Give them something.
Well, I want to say, well, where I came from, I went to high school in Watts, and people said it's the bad place to go. It's always not the best place to go when you're going to end up in jail or something. No, I ended up in college.
You bypassed all that.
I bypassed that.
That's
I made it.
I'm young brother. Rousing round of applause for that, no doubt.
I made myself as a person who people want to help me. People want to see me succeed. I made myself a person to look up to, a person to actually want to reach out to. If you think you're not worth it, you are. That's all I have to say.
If you think you're not worth it, reconsider that. Come to the summer camp.
Because you can do whatever you like. If it's art, if it's building, if it's computers like I was. I went to this architect camp, and my mom thought I was going to love architecture. I ended up software programming because of that camp. And it just led me to where I wanted to go, even it wasn't the original idea. But it still opened my eyes to another world.
Otto?
Yeah.
Final words?
Just piggyback on what he said, we really just want to scratch this camp will really just scratch the surface of, your creative potential. If it's fashion, I have classmates that are in fashion, designing video game environments, you know, all kind of different things. So we really just want to open their minds up and let them fly away. So.
All right, so I got to swing that mic right back around to Reuben, though, because we're going to wrap the show out. Reuben, I want you to give out details about the July event one more time, please.
So again, the July event is for adults. That is to learn more about real estate and real estate development, small scale real estate development, both commercial and residential. A lot of our people have homes of their own and don't realize they're sitting on something they could further develop. Or if you're looking at buying some small scale residential properties, we'll be talking about those things. So that event, you can get more details at SoCalNOMA.org on the events page, but the address of where it is 221 East Walnut Street, Suite 234, I believe, in Pasadena on Saturday, July 11th.
One more time for the So-Cal Summer Camp.
All right.
So-Cal NOMA Summer Camp.
And just remember, for all this information, you can go to our website, SoCalNOMA.org. We have a page called Camp NOMA that will get you all the information on the camp. If you went to the overview page, you could see a 5-minute video that would really, you'd see a lot of the stuff being done hands-on. Actually, some of these alumnus, you'd see them when they were young.
I've actually got pictures up.
And we have the events page where you can see some of the upcoming events. Like we didn't touch on, Michael and I will be conducting a event in October on social media, and that's really open to everyone. To how do you start to leverage social media to whatever you do, whether it's architecture, restaurateur, what have you. Are you starting to use those platforms? Again, you could like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Give it out.
So-Cal NOMA, so facebook.com/So-Cal NOMA, and at So-Cal NOMA on Twitter, and at So-Cal NOMA on Instagram.
All right, folks, we got to get out of here. We were actually running overtime here, 6 minutes into the Wolf's Den. Thank you, Ecor the Wolf, for giving us some extra time tonight. I want to thank all of our guests who joined us here tonight. Fine ladies and gentlemen from So-Cal NOMA. Be sure to stay tuned. We've got more information about the summer camp that's coming up, the July event. Thank you all so much, man. I'm so proud of you young brothers, man. Wow, we ain't done yet. We'll be back again to do it again, so stay tuned. More information from the So-Cal NOMA Summer Camp, more information about the July event. Be sure to stay tuned. Coming up at the top of the hour, we've got the Wolf's Den. Thank you all for tuning in tonight and making LA Talk Live what it is. We'll see you soon. See you next time.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just